Time now for the STOHD.com Diamond in the Rough, and it's Captain's outfielder Carlos MONCRIEF. STOHD.com's Tony Lastoria says the Indians' 14th round selection from '08 out of Chipola Junior College initially came to the Indians system as a pitcher. He got his fastball up to 97, but command and development issues resulted in him leaving the mound for the outfield last year. Tons of raw ability with arm strength, power, athleticism in the outfield. Good line drive, gap-to-gap hitter. Like most hitters at this level, he's working on his plate discipline, but with his power arm and bat, makes a very interesting prototype right field prospect for the Tribe.
He sure does, and what's been nice about Carlos lately is he's been walking a lot more. His on-base percentage is 112 points higher than his batting average, but he's also hit some mammoth home runs too. So you can see what they see in him trying to move him to right field, and more importantly, throwing guys out from right field. They'll run on him once, and that's about it.
He's like the Shin-Soo Choo in the Midwest.
Exactly. Once they figure out where he is, that's as far as they're going to go.
Read more about Indians prospects every week on Minor Happenings on STOHD.com and also in Tony's book listing the 100 top Tribe prospects. Welcome back to our STO studios here, downtown Cleveland. Craig DEAS, Al PAWLOWSKI, thanks for joining us here. And since we have Craig in the studio, the voice of the Lake County Captains, thought we'd talk more on Lake County here today. And, well, Craig, let's start off with Mike Rail. Here's a kid, a nice pitching prospect. He's had some ups and downs, but overall, pretty intriguing guy.
Yeah, and he's been really good for us. 4-1. He lost his first game the other day. He only went 4 innings, but I think they limited his innings in that ball game. But 47 strikeouts, 10 walks in 48 innings. You love those kind of numbers. In 7 of his 10 starts, he's given up a run or less. You can't ask much more than a starter than that. And he has been really, really good, and he's been our stopper this season when it comes to little losing streaks.
And sometimes guys like this can project as a bullpen guy, but you think Mike Rail projects as a starter going forward, right?
Well, I mean, not that I would know, but yeah, I like him as a starter just because he's chewing up innings. He's not just eking by 5 innings. He'll give you 6, and sometimes you're looking at 7 innings. So yeah, I like him the way where he's sitting right now.
All right, another guy to talk about is Alex MONSALVE. Here's a guy behind the plate. A lot of people were talking about Alex Levinsky. Of course, he had the big signing bonus, the 8th round pick from last year in St. Edward High School. But Alex MONSALVE has turned out to do a very nice job behind the plate as well. So you have Levinsky, the local boy you can see at Lake County, and then this kid who's turning into a real nice prospect here in the first couple of months of the season.
Yeah, so generally you have an Alex catching. That's what we've determined so far, right? Somebody named Alex. He's
right.
Second on the team in batting at 275. Got a couple of home runs. He's only 19. He just turned 19. But I tell you what, he's getting better and better behind the plate each and every week. And Stephen Wright, who you've talked about on the show, who's reinventing himself as a knuckleballer, guess who his catcher is? Alex MONSALVE, and he's done such a good job with Stephen, and that's a tough pitch to catch at any age or any level, and I really think he's done a nice job, so there's a big upside to him.
And he's got both the bat and behind the plate, as you're saying, too, which is nice for a catcher to have both. A lot of times you have one or the other, and then they kind of, if you're a hitter, you go one way, and if you're a catcher, you stay behind the plate, but can only go so far. All right, another player to talk about is GIOVANNI URSHELA. Here's a kid that played at Mahoning Valley last year. Jason Stanford got to see him play quite a bit. He's got some versatility. You'd like to see some better numbers from him, but URSHELA, prospect-wise, is still a young kid that's got some large upside potential if he could ever reach that.
Yeah, he's only 19 years old. Another one of those pups that we have on the club, hitting 222 coming in, but slumping a little bit defensively, even defensively a little bit. I don't know if it's fatigue setting in or what's going on or just a little bit of distractions, but he came in very highly touted, and I still see a huge ceiling for him, and when you talk to the scouts that come through, they really like him. It's just one of those little blips, I think, right now for him, but hopefully he'll get the ship righted here and move on and get that batting average back up where it was earlier in the season, which was close to 300.
All right, speaking of the pitching side, we've talked about some today, but how about Clayton Ellert? He was part of the no-hitter back in April, and here's another nice kid that, you know, pitching prospect-wise, it always seems Lake County every year, Craig, has 3 or 4 guys that can project. Here's another one. Yeah, he's 0-2, but 10 saves and an ERA at 2.5. He's a nice bullpen prospect, isn't he?
He sure is. He's converted 10 out of 12 save opportunities, and you see closers. Closers in the big leagues go 1-6 because there's those 6 nights where they're just not that good. But he has been very good, and he loves coming to the ballpark. He's got a great attitude. He's always got a big smile on his face, and he loves that role. But, you know, early in the Captains, we had a lot of guys that were on their last legs as our closer, guys that they knew could help us win some games, and then they were gone the next year. But, you know, he's fallen in a line of Vinny Pastano, Corey Burns, Preston Gilmet, guys that I think they're actually grooming to be closers at this level and not throwaway guys. And I think, you know, he's got some potential if he keeps getting people out.
All right, another exciting player that you just recently got. He was a little bit dinged up, but LaVon Washington, who was an Indians draft pick last year, originally a couple of years ago, a top pick of the Rays didn't sign, so the Indians get him in the second round in 2010. A lot of excitement with this kid. Tell me what you've seen from him so far.
He's young. He's young and he is raw, and they're working with him a lot. Gary Thurman's been in, the outfield coordinator's been in working on his outfield play, and you can see he's improving. You know, in this pitching, he's gone as a 19-year-old. Now he's in professional baseball, and it's very similar to a lot of these young guys. It's a whole different world for them when they're out there. But LeVon Washington is exciting. He's fast. I was actually talking to Ted Kubiak, our manager, this morning. I said, is he going to steal another base? What are we waiting for? He goes, he's got the green light. And he's been getting on base. So I think he's just getting a feel for the game right now. But he's a great kid, infectious smile, really a good attitude guy. And we'll see what happens to him down the road. But they're projecting big things for him.
And you mentioned Ted Kubiak. He was a guy on those world champion A's teams back in the early 70s. What a great guy to have managing in the minors. Great teacher. I think everybody respects him when he talked to the kids coming up. And he's nearing, what, 1,000 wins as a minor league manager? Yeah,
it should happen early in June. I think we're, without looking this morning, 5 or 6 games away to get 1,000, which is something.
Now, what does he bring to the ball club, to a guy with that wealth of experience and a guy that's done it in the majors and not only, made it there, but played on world championship teams?
Well, I think he's been around the game long enough where he's a calming influence, too. And he'll light them up, which he did the other night when they needed to. But for the most part, he's there for them. He's been there, done that. He's a great teacher, especially from an infield. And we got some young infield guys, and I think the last 2 years that he's been with us, our fielding percentage is top 5 in the league, and I think he harps on that. But I think he also lets his coaches coach. His pitching coach and his hitting, they do their thing, and he oversees everything. I just think from an organizational standpoint, he is what a manager should be.
Yeah. And it is fun to watch a game in Lake County, too. Classic Park, great place to watch. If you go around the league, low A, you don't find many ballparks like Classic Park. It's outstanding indeed. All right, we'll take a break here with Indians Minor League Magazine. Still more to come. Another guy that used to play in Lake County we'll talk about next, Joe Gardner. He's made the move to Akron. You'll meet him as Indians Minor League Magazine continues after this on SportsTime Ohio.
Beautiful. 26, 36 feet per second up.